Welcome. I'm Tim Fortescue, an IFS trained practitioner specializing in spiritual growth and healing, whether you've experienced religious trauma or just seeking guidance on your spiritual journey. I'm here to support and walk alongside as an ally, however I can. As you're chiming on, if you're joining live and want to let me know where you're coming from, just always curious to see where people are joining from on the live stream. And if you're watching the recording, know that I encourage you to chime in the chat too, and I will do my best to keep track of the chat and to engage you with your questions there. You can find out more about me on my website, faithfullygrowing.com. As we go throughout our time today, type questions in the chat and I'll do my best to engage with them. During our time, there'll be a couple times where I can engage with your questions. And again, if you're watching the recording, go ahead and type those questions in too, and I'll do my best to get back to you. If you haven't already, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. You can be notified when new content or new lives like this are going to be going out. And you can also find other guided meditations and insights that I do here. If you have the capacity to donate, one of my biggest values and with Faithfully Growing is to help keep IFS coaching accessible to all. And so have a nonprofit aspect of my practice, and you can /donate. Additionally, if you're hitting hard and know that I do have some sliding scale slots available. And so ask me about those if they would be helpful. And then at the end of our time, I'm going to talk just a bit about a coaching group. I'm going to have two different groups with the same content that's going to be starting next week. And we'll give you some more information about that. Would love for you to join me if it makes sense. Okay, and so let me lead us. I'm going to do more of an exercise today, and it's a meditation too, but it's going to give us more time to interact. And it's similar to what I do in my thematic coaching groups that I offer twice a month, as well as the One Inside coaching group that will be coming up starting next week. And so I want to give you a taste of what those coaching groups look like. And it may be helpful to have a pen and paper handy if you have one close by or can run and get it. As those of you who are familiar with IFS or internal family systems, you know that it's based on the concept of the mind is multiple. We have parts. Often you'll hear others say, a part of me wants this, a part of me doesn't, a part of me feels this way, a part of me feels that way. And the idea that our mind is multiple, we're made up with parts, and it's totally normal. And those parts can come up as thoughts, feelings, actions, impulses, deep-seated beliefs, among many other things. But when we find out that we have these parts, often they're younger, they haven't been seen in a while, and they don't know that we have a core self. We're beloved. We're adults now, and they bring us gifts, but they're part of an inner team. And so through IFS and parts mapping, it helps us be aware of those parts and to let them know that they're part of a whole, our whole system, our whole internal family. And so that's what I'm going to lead us in just a bit today. And so I want you to think of a current life situation. Maybe it's a challenge that you're facing. Maybe it's a decision that you're facing. One example of how we can map our parts is this morning. I spent some time just checking in, what I call my team huddle with my parts. And with it being just after a holiday break, there are many parts of me, first of all, that just wanted to go to sleep, didn't want to get up, wanted to disengage. There's another part that said, oh, we've got to get to work. We didn't get a lot done last week. There are parts that said, oh, I should have rested more, or I wish I had more vacation. And so multiple parts around my team huddle in a morning check-in after a an extended vacation and break is an example. And so think of something, and for you, it may be a relationship, it may be something you have coming up, it may be a life event. But see if you could think of a specific, what we call trailhead in our mind that brings up different parts of you. Take just a minute, and I'll give you some time too as we check in. And let's just pause and see if we can turn our attention inward. See if you can think of a specific instance like I described. And let's just take a couple minutes together. Just your internal world. And begin to notice the parts that are coming up inside of you. Maybe there's a part that says, I wish it wasn't this way. Maybe there's a part that says, oh, but I kind of like this. There's often polarizations. There's one and the other. And as we get to know them, they're on the same team. Or maybe there's a part of you that wants to disengage and run. Maybe there's a part that says, oh, we need to do this, this, this. And so just notice those thoughts, feelings, actions, impulses that are coming up in you. Know that they're likely, what you're noticing is likely a part. Then when it feels right, just begin jotting. If you have a pen and paper, if you don't, you can just do this all internally in your mind too, but just jot down 4 or 5 of the parts that are coming up inside of you. I don't want to do this. You've got to do this. Just kind of notice what is arising and try not to think about it too much. Just notice what's coming up and jot it down. And if you're joining live and you want to type in a couple of the parts that you're noticing, know that I welcome that. Or if you're watching the recording, go ahead and type in those parts too, knowing that you don't have to do anything. You can just sit and absorb and be with your parts if that feels right. But I'm going to give you just a minute more to just kind of notice what's coming up and jot down any last things that may be coming up for those parts. See if there's anything else. Now, just kind of be aware of those parts that have come up. If you wrote down a list, maybe look back over them. And then just check in and see if there's one that may need your attention or want your attention most right now for the next few minutes or so. And just see if the other parts could soften back and give us some space to spend some time with this one part right now. And let them know that they can have a chance too. This doesn't have to be the last time that you check in with them. And maybe let them know that you'll do this at a later time, later today or another time. See if they could give you some space to check in with this part that you're noticing the most right now. Where do you sense this part in or around your body? How do you know that this is the part that's raising its hand saying, I need attention right now? Maybe it's a sensation. Maybe it's a feeling, sadness, anticipation. Maybe it's a visual. How do you know that this part is present? Just see if you can just be present with that part for just a minute with no agenda. See what you notice. And let this part know that you want to get to know it better. See how it responds. And how do you feel toward the part? This is where we're checking in to see if there is just a drop of self energy from our core that we can extend to the part. So, curiosity, calmness, compassion, sense of connectedness among those other C words or words that are along those lines, and know if you're feeling something other than kind of that curiosity, compassion, sense of connectedness with your whole internal system. Know that it's likely a part, and maybe it's one of those parts that voiced itself but wasn't as most present. Just see if it could soften back again, or maybe it's a new part. See if it could give us some space to focus on this part that we're noticing the most right now, knowing that these other parts can have a chance too. But we can learn more if we can spend some time one at a time. And we're spending time with this part now. And if your parts are able to soften back, if you can focus your attention back on the part that you're noticing the most now. If you can muster up just a bit of curiosity, calmness, compassion, so if you can extend it toward the part that is wanting attention right now. And again, reassure this part that there's no agenda. It doesn't have to do anything. If it just wants to be with us, that's okay. Just check in and ask the part if there's anything that it'd like you to know. What's its job? What's its role? What's its intention for you? What does the part need or want from you? What do you want to share with the part? Just see if there's anything else that this part needs or wants so that you may need to share before we begin to wrap up. When it feels complete for now, and I know that these recordings, some systems need a lot more time than I give, and know that you can go back and do this again and watch the recording or just linger with your parts more after we're done. But for now, just see that part that you've given some attention to right now. Just thank it for its courage, for as much or as little as it shared. And let it know this isn't the last time. You can spend more time with it. And let it know when you'll do that. And see if you can expand your view just a bit and notice those parts that may have witnessed this part that was up the most getting some time. See how they're doing? Thank them for their courage and giving us some space and softening back. See how this was for them. And let them know that they can have some more time and space too, and let them know when you'll do that. When can you check in with them again? Then just notice your whole internal system. There's a team here that's not alone. They've got you. They've got each other. They've got that light within. And call that whatever you will, whether it be God or universe, internal power. There's something strong inside there that we've got as a guide too. And then when it feels complete for now, just take a couple deep breaths together again. Bring your attention back to the present moment where you are. See in presence and with you, or in your present moment into your day. Thank you for joining me. And if you have questions, go ahead and pop those in the chat. I'll hang around for a bit and just want to let you know. So if you'd like to experience more of IFS in a group context, starting next week, I'll be doing 2 groups. One will begin on January the 11th, which is a Thursday evening from 8 to 9:30 Eastern. And then another group will meet on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 12:30 Eastern here in the U.S., beginning January 13th. What we will do in these groups is a lot of what I just did. We'll use this book as a guide, which is a 30-day overview of IFS that will be a parallel resource to help us learn and understand the model a little more. And then we'll meet for an hour and a half for 6 weeks, checking in. I'll lead you through a guided exercise much like this, of where we will get feedback from one another. And I'm able in a live context to go deeper with individual systems who may want to go deeper with those parts that need some attention. But we'll get to know our inner system and family better, and we'll be able to ease some of that internal tension, uncertainty, anxiety that tends to come when we're blended. Like I said, there'll be live customized coaching. We'll be mapping our thoughts, feelings, emotions, much like what I just did. And we can talk a little more, identify some personal growth edges or where we need to be more compassionate to parts and other areas. And this will all take place in a supportive and loving community and container, knowing that you don't have to do anything that doesn't feel right. And so if you're would like to join, go to faithfullygrowing.com/inside. You can get more information, some FAQs, and reserve your spot. I'm limiting it to 6 total for each of the groups, just to allow more intimacy and connection. And so join me if you can for one of these One Inside coaching groups. The cost is $375 for the 6 sessions. And let me know if you have any questions, but I'll leave it at that for now. faithfullygrowing.com/inside. But thanks for joining. Don't see any questions coming in, but if you're watching a recording and these January dates have already passed, know that I am offering groups on a regular basis. So check my website and you can find them there. But grateful for this community. Have a great week, and type in your questions as you watch this video, and I'll do my best to engage with you. But take good care. Thanks for joining. And yeah, just grateful for you all. All right. Bye-bye.